Can you give me an update on the Ethereum roadmap, considering its past, present, and future?
Yeah, and I feel like in general, the Ethereum roadmap has been stabilizing quite a bit over the last few years, right? And because historically there have been a lot of things that have changed because of just like changes in circumstances, changes in ideas, realizing that something doesn't work, realizing that something does work, new problems popping up. I think the big changes between last year and this year would be, one is just the realization that like there's something to be done about staking centralization, right? Like the status quo of the different pools and solo staking being hard and all of those things is not really healthy. And there's I think a big opportunity to do some redesigns to the staking system that really alleviates some of those issues and both improve centralization and even try to make the algorithm more efficient. And like, for example, just like have single slot finality, but only have like 10,000 signatures in each slot instead of not having single slot finality and having like 30,000 signatures in each slot, which is what we do today, right? There's a lot of room to try to, like once you make some trade-offs that I think realistically will have to be made anyway to really improve on efficiency and improve on decentralization at the same time. So that's one of the threads that I expect will continue to be worked on. Data availability and that side of things is like basically probably a bit slower than we expected, but it's still moving forward on the same path as we expected. In general, on scaling, I feel like the pendulum has swung back slightly toward more off-chain data stuff, right? Because of both because the amount of near-term and mid-term demand is so high that like even the data availability that we can do is not going to be able to cover it, and because the level of security that you can get with off-chain stuff, I think, is higher than anticipated. Like a lot of the plasma ideas that I talked about a couple of days ago are probably a good example of that, right? But otherwise, still moving forward on data availability. I'm still moving forward on Verkle trees, snarking the EVM, all of the EVM improvement efforts, just all of those different things. So definitely, a lot going on the same path. I think nothing new on the functionality side. Maybe, unless you include like the whole off-chain data thing, but that's kind of, by definition, off-chain, like outside the layer one. So, it doesn't touch the core devs, yay. But it's, just a sort of responding to threats and like making sure things like security and decentralization get preserved, and just like some fairly small tweaks compared to years in the past. So in general, the roadmap is stabilizing, which I think is a really good sign. So Bitcoin is a blockchain that's designed for one application, right? Which is like maintaining and letting people use Bitcoin, the currency. Ethereum is a general purpose blockchain. So instead of being a blockchain that's designed for one application, Ethereum is a blockchain that supports a built-in programming language, and whatever blockchain application you want to build, you can just write the logic of that application in the programming language, upload that program to the chain, and this becomes what we call a smart contract. And anyone can then interact with your application, and the blockchain interprets the rules of your application for you. The difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? This is that on Ethereum, there's like native functionality that allows you to essentially directly put either ETH or Ethereum based assets into these smart contracts, into these lockboxes where system that enforces those rules. And then on the Bitcoin layer, the Bitcoins will just have to be owned by probably a multi-sig wallet controlled by like either Jack or the participants in the system. It looks similar, but it'll end up being something with a much weaker trust model,
Right. Like, I really think that, like, this is the whole reason why Ethereum started as an independent system in the first place, right? Like, there's technical limits to your ability to kind of graft new functionality onto a system that's not powerful enough to support that new functionality.